Hi, welcome to my vlog. Today I'm going to talk about stress. So it's not to make you feel bad about life, but just to help. I'm in year 11, so I've got GCSEs in like 4 weeks, which is really scary. So this is a shout out to HelpGuide.org. So there are 4 types of stress. So there's cognitive, which is kind of like the most common stress that everyone feels. Then there's emotional, which is kind of more on the like depressing side of it. Like that phrase, when you wake up on the wrong side of bed and like you're just in a bad mood and everything goes wrong throughout the day, which I get so often. Then there's physical, which is if you're stressed, like you often feel quite run down. I'm sorry to say this, but gaining weight is also a side effect because it's like the body's way of reacting to danger. So like if it senses danger, then it's like a survival tactic. Blame Darwin. There's also behavioural. So there are different ways to deal with stress. So the first one is breathing, which is kind of obvious. There's not really a set way to do it, but there is a good way that helps you kind of relax and feel calm about life. So you inhale through your nose and exhale throughout your mouth. And make sure your shoulders are relaxed and don't shrug them or tense them. And then you do this deep breathing for 8 to 10 breaths. Then if you do it again by inhaling into your upper chest, and then it's a kind of like mindfulness thing. So you're thinking about like the bed beneath you and the light and like, I don't know, the chest rising and falling. I don't know. So exercise is a really good one. Even if you're just walking, it just helps you to be outside and like clear your mind. And especially the fresh air, like if you're studying and you're in a room all day and like it's just nice to be outside for a bit. Also, it's like a good way of getting fit, so yay. Talking to people is really useful, and sometimes it feels like it gets in the way of your work, but actually even if it's just like 10 minutes a day. Friends are like really good, especially if they're doing the same subject, because you can probably rant about the same things. Also remember, you probably have a family. Your parents have been through it. If you've got an older sibling, then that's great because they've obviously been through it and like, you know, they're closer to our age. Yeah, that's really useful. I've got an older sister and it's just so useful talking to her about like the subjects that we've done together and just general life. Also, don't abandon all the things that you enjoy doing, but kind of decrease the amount of responsibilities and activities that you're doing. Because like, I hate to say it, but they can get in the way, and like if you've got so much going on, then like it does just get so overwhelming. Don't leave work last minute, because I've learned from experience that if you fall behind on art GCSE coursework, it is really hard to get back up again. Also, like you have more time to think about what you're writing or what you're doing, which is just so useful because then, like, you know, depending on your mood, you can then go back on it and look if you care that much. This is something I find really difficult, is like if I'm working in my room and it's really messy, which is a general teenage thing, but yeah. It's really hard to focus on the work that you're doing because like there's just all this mess around you and like it just really distracts me. So if you have a clear space, then it's like a clear mind, which I think is a phrase from Sherlock that I can't remember. So working all the time is not a good idea. And if you, like say you're doing GCSEs, if you kind of start looking back at the work you've done from the beginning of year 10, then you're kind of always keeping on top of it. Which is something I didn't do, but was recommended in year 11, which wasn't very helpful, but still. Also, if you haven't done that, you can start revising kind of by Easter time, because then you can use the Easter holidays to first get started, and then you've got a bit of time to kind of panic, which you shouldn't do, but you know, like if you are panicking, you've got that time to think about it. Also, if you make a realistic timetable, that's really helpful. So if you kind of make sure you spend longer on the subjects that you're not so good at, so like especially the core subjects like maths and English, and also the subjects that you're going to probably carry through education, so that like you can spend longer on them because they're obviously more important. Also remember to spend time with civilization, like your friends and family. Like just because you've got exams, like you don't have to push everyone away. Like there are people out there who are going through exactly the same thing as you every single year. Also, what I find difficult is if I spend like the whole day or evening stuck in the same room studying, like you just associate that room with studying. So if you associate a place with your study area, So like it might be the kitchen table or like your living room, and then you think of that as a study area. It helps your brain to get focused in that area, and also you remember to keep the hell away from it at other times. Also, what's not a good thing is if you spend too long on a piece of work or subject. So like I said earlier, if you kind of allocate your time with like the work that is most important, so the core subjects and stuff, and you've got a whole day through, then you don't really need to spend any longer than 6 hours working. So if you set an alarm for 8 and then wake up at 9, and then if you do half-hour slots working with about 5 minutes break in between, and then like an hour for lunch, and you should be done by about 3:30. And then that way it's kind of, it's only like a school day. And also you can do it in your own time, which is really useful. And like I said earlier as well, like if you start early, even if it's just like reading a page from the revision guide every day, that's really good. If you just keep going over and over it, it will just get stuck in your brain, which is also something I didn't do, but something that I really recommend. Obviously listening to music is a really, really helpful way to get through this all. So what I tend to do is I listen to instrumental tracks, because sometimes the vocals can get really annoying, especially if it's like heavy metal music, or like sometimes it's just like really happy music. It just irritates me so much. What I also like is like listening to the soundtrack of my favourite film or like video game, because then in a way you're kind of watching the film or playing that game, but you're also studying, and if you enjoy it, like it just naturally puts you in a good mood and you feel positive about working. Also, I have an app on my phone called StudyTracks, and that's really helpful. It's kind of weird because it wraps out information about the subjects. So like it might be a rap about like how meteorites are formed. Like it's really stupid, but actually they're so catchy, and like it just gets stuck in your head. And it's quite a funny way to learn. So I hope this video helped. Do remember, like, stress is manageable. Every single person who's gone through exams has most likely suffered from stress. Whatever grades you get, they will mostly be fair in proportion to how much you revise. And like, often I kind of panic in an exam and then I forget everything. So if you just remember those like breathing techniques and kind of remembering that everything will be okay, that really helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.